Hi, everybody. Good morning, and welcome to the Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties. I'm having a lot of fun. We've been around here for the last half hour chatting, talking about the event, and then we go off on conversations, and it's like, wait a minute, who is this guy on the screen? Oh, that's right. My name is Roland, and I'm the sponsor of Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties and the owner of R&D Hotline. If you have a question, call the hotline. But today, I'm having a lot of fun. I want to get right into my co-host and my guest today so we can get started in the conversation. So I'm going to say at this time, I am joined by Molly Youngblood Geiger as my co-host, and I'm always glad to have her here on Saturdays, but she's been religiously sticking with us every week. And say hi, Molly.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Molly Geiger. I work for my agency, which is Design Right for You, out of Jacksonville, Florida. And I enjoy hanging out with the Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties and helping out if I can.
Thank you. And now for my special guest today. She's becoming such a friend, and I'm finding that I'm really in alignment where she's coming from as a person, let alone her business acumen and her business concepts. And I'm really happy to have her here today presenting Lynn Hawkins. Say hi.
Hi, everybody, and thanks, Roland, for having me on the show. Molly, it's great to be back with you again. I'm so excited about what's going to happen today. Don't quite know how it's going to run, but, you know, when you get people with the right heart together, the right things come out. So I'm excited to be here. Thanks for the invite, Roland.
Absolutely. And, just as a brief sidestep, I've been out in the communities listening to stuff. And I wanted to do the shout out for the Astons, Phil and Sue Aston from England. Actually, they're in Penzance, Cornwall, and they have a thing that they call Tea Break Chat with the Astons. Now, it's no big deal. It's not a educational thing like what we have here. They don't necessarily teach anything specific, but they do share a lot of warmth. And you've got to try out. It's a 15 or 20-minute long segment, and you finish up, and you just think to yourself, "Wow, that was a fun 15 or 20 minutes." And the reason is that the two of them have their hearts in the right place. They're very giving people, and they just get on screen and have fun. They are natural, and they're just doing the same thing. And so, in the midst of all that we show and educate on this show, that's kind of what I want to do too. I want to be able to have fun and convey positivity to people. So now, I'm just kind of like throwing Lynn in there to experience what we do on Saturday mornings. We gear a lot of what we do on Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties for small businesses or entrepreneurs that are struggling to figure out what exactly can I do to get started? Where do I go? What do I need? What's the bottom line? And my mantra to them is you don't need to know everything. You just got to do a few things right. So you have a really focused concept of what you do. And so I thought I'd just give you a chance right now to talk about your main focus and what you do, and then I've got a few questions for you.
Well, thanks, Roland. I appreciate that. I really want your audience to understand that, you know, I am that entrepreneur that came out of corporate America, and my background is in commercial real estate. And you're probably wondering, gosh, commercial real estate, how does that play into anything? Well, I spent most of my commercial real estate career in the lending arena. And I built businesses within the corporate structure that were actually high profit margin divisions. And for a lot of people, what I did in the company and managing my division and growing teams, and not just growing teams, but you know, a team is nothing without its people. Just like business is nothing without its people. I learned a lot through the practice of business in the corporate environment. And one of the things that I saw was that, and my heart went out to, was the small business owners that I served. And when I left corporate America, or I talk about how I affectionately got my last written opportunity to leave, I said, okay, so now what? And Spirit actually guided me to a place where I could now step up to be truly, and I thought this from the very beginning, the woman that God had called me to be in life and in business. And to that degree, I started working with small businesses as a commercial real estate agent, an independent commercial real estate agent. I did a little bit of direct marketing with a product that I still promote today, which is Legal Shield, because every family and every business needs legal counsel that they can have the ability to pick up the phone and call to ask their legal questions. And there's nothing by far that I have found that matches, much less goes beyond what that service provides. But that's another story. And again, what got me into the place of being a business acceleration mentor and coach that I am now, and the things that I teach now, is by virtue of coming through the experience of the struggling entrepreneur. When I came out of corporate America, I knew the value of a business plan. I wrote a business plan. I was on track in my business plan as far as the things that I was going to do. What I didn't realize was that there was a piece missing that was impacting everything, and that was where my heart was at the time. Because I had been so trained to focus on the money, you're in business and you are doing business and it's all about the money. And, you know, I'm the kind of person, I've been in the nonprofit world my entire career as well. I've been a grant writer. I still today manage grants and write grants. That's why Molly and I have been such a great connection, because of the nonprofit space that we both are in. And so, you know, for me, it has always been more than the money. But in my business, it was actually able to open me up to an entirely new aspect of business, which is the energy piece. And the energy that my heart gives out for business. I'd been taught some things early on that really stopped me from asking for what it was that I knew the value of any service I was providing would bring. For standing in my power to say, I am of value, here's what I'd like to do for you, and it costs this. And so I ended up growing in that area to be very clear about what it is that I'm doing, who it is that I am, where it is that I desire to go, and who it is that I want to impact. And that is the other piece, because with my business, I know I'm going to impact some, but I want to impact the masses. I see beyond what's like right in front of me, and I see that the work that I am doing will reach so many others that I'll never even know. And that's what fuels my heart to do the work that I'm doing. And I actually have brought it to a place of, through my certification, the Business Acceleration Certified Mentor and Coach, I bring to the plate a philosophy, a methodology of 12 practices of business acceleration, and learning, embodying, practicing, doing these 12 practices to the highest degree possible. And they're very simplified to learn. Means that you can go from a place of chaos and confusion in your business that is also your life to clarity, clear thinking, clear doing, clear results coming because of it, and cash. And so I've been offering an opportunity to be a part of my complimentary program. It's free. It's something that I talk about, going from chaos and confusion to clarity and cash. And I've developed a 10X CEO program, a business acceleration program that actually works through that, so that you can take your business to the next level with ease and clarity and peace and joy, and really see that cash coming in. And the other piece of it is, and Roland, you and I did a little bit of talking about this yesterday, one of the major elements that I focus on in the program is around mindset. Because, as I mentioned before, you know, a business is nothing without people. And a business, an entrepreneurship, the business, is nothing without the entrepreneur. And if the entrepreneur is in a space of, you know, not feeling their worth, devaluing their own assets, then, you know, things just get harder. So we do this whole process of mindset and mindset transformation throughout the entire program. And I love to talk about it in the way that simplifies it for me. You asked a question about what is the first thing and the biggest thing that impacts a person getting started in business, or whether you're in business and looking to do bigger business. And that is strategy. Strategy is everything. And I actually remember being in a group one time and somebody said, well, what is the biggest thing? And I said, strategy. I love strategy. And of course I got those glares like, she's nuts, she's crazy. And I started talking about it, and I'll share this story with you. As I'd mentioned, I'd written a business plan when I first started my business. And I was in year 2 of my business when I had a major life event occur. I was living in California at the time, 10 years out there, a great network of friends and business associates and family. And my son and his family were living in Japan, in Okinawa, Japan. And I got the phone call one Saturday night, it was Sunday morning in Japan, to get the news that he had been killed in a motorcycle accident. And talk about, you know, wipeout. That was a total and complete wipeout for me. Since then, and it felt like in the blink of an eye, I thought I was coming to Atlanta to connect with my daughter, to go to Japan and you know, do the whole take care of things thing. And it turned out that my stepson was on his way to visit his brother the day of the accident. And he stayed out there, 26-year-old young man, stayed there. He finished Howard, got his law degree. He was teaching in China at the time, visiting his brother since they were so close now. And this happened, and he had to go into this situation. But he handled himself like I don't know of anyone doing, to have dealt with the military, dealt with me, you know, thousands of miles away, gotten the family in Japan, his brother's remains, all back to the States so that we could do the rest. But my business totally shut down.
Yeah.
And when it came time to restart, I was there saying, what do I do? Where do I go? What's next? And Spirit dropped on me, pull out your business plan. And I thought, okay, well, there you go. I pulled it out and I read it, and it took me to the year 5 strategy of going to a more virtual opportunity. Building the platforms, doing things online, everything that I had done live and in person, I could do online and transition and actually have the 2 worlds going. But I thought, perfect opportunity to begin again, and I did. And I have since, over the last 3 years now, probably more like 2.5 or a little closer to 2, built an online business and online opportunities that have just been amazing with the people that I've been able to reach. Molly's in Florida, Roland's on the West Coast. I have friends and clients now in the UK and Australia, and that would not have been able to happen were it not for coming to this virtual environment. And so that's why I say strategy is the key and the first thing that you have to do. Get your business plan. Know what you're going to do. You as the CEO, set the vision of where your business is going to go, and you have to hold that vision. So you want to be clear about it, and your strategy can help you to be in that space.
Yes, and if you, as we discussed that, to put some flesh and bones on the concept of strategy, what are like the what's the one building block that you would suggest people to start with, or what are the first couple things that they would say, this is the direction you want to go, you want to do this, and then this. Well, where do people start? Because nobody knows where to start, and that's a hard step, making the first one. So where do we start?
It really is, and that's why I say to start, let the first step of your strategy be write a business plan. And you know why? Because it makes you think about all of the pieces of business that you want to consider as you're calling yourself building a business. So start with the first piece of your strategy for your business development and growth is write a business plan. Because you get to talk about who you are as a company. What are you going to do? Where do you want to be in 10 years or 5 years or 3 years? Where do you want to be next year? Your business plan is going to make you think about that from the standpoint of clients or customers. It's going to make you think about that in the context of dollars, revenue. It's going to make you think about that in terms of where do you fit in the marketplace? How do you fit in the marketplace? Who's your competition? Your business plan is actually going to allow you to be in that space long enough to know that when you get started, you are clear about who you are, the market you're heading into, and what it is that you intend to do. And intention is huge. You know, Molly, you're right. It can truly be your roadmap. And in that roadmap, it allows you to be intentional. You know, I talk a lot about the spaceship going to the moon. Blast off, lots of energy there. That's the writing of your business plan. But you already know you're going to the moon, and you know that you're going through several layers of atmospheric pressure and what you might encounter on the way between blast off and getting there. And it's about being able to be in the space of adjusting. So the spaceship that's going from Earth to the moon or anywhere out there actually has been proven to adjust 93% of the time. And if you've ever gotten behind the wheel of a car, you know that you have to adjust. You know, you can't just go down the street without the steering wheel. You know, you're adjusting the steering wheel. It's the same thing in business. And the business plan is your roadmap in that you have determined what your destination is going to be. You've determined the direction at which you want to head and the trajectory so that when you're in this blast-off stage of new business and startup, you know that the energy that you're expending is to get to that first level of atmospheric pressure so that you can then shed that first pod and start the rest of the journey, because it truly is the journey.
You know, you said a mouthful, and it implies a lot of different things. That a journey is done in stages, but you have to get started. The first step is the business plan. In other words, have a clear idea of what you're doing. And I think that what I would add to this, that as you write your business plan, it's going to change from your initial thinking to when you get it refined. And you might not get it refined until the next draft or the next draft, or that's part of your steering mechanism. You're going to find a better way to go or a higher way to go. You're going to refine your map. And so that's one thing, is like if you start off with your map, you're going to be able to say, okay, I'm looking at my map now, but I got to correct the direction here, and this distance is not quite as far, and this one might be a little longer, but you can, as you say, adjust. So I think that that's a great thing. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Molly, but what I want to do is be able to have that open so that we can all three discuss what Lynn's bringing to the table.
Sure. I would just quickly add to what Lynn was saying that, you know, I'm an entrepreneur too. So the exact same challenges that she mentioned, I had to overcome those too. And when I first went into business, that was the first thing I did is I sat down and I wrote a business plan. I wrote, okay, who's my target market? How am I going to reach that target market? What vehicles am I going to use to advertise my services to my target market? And for me, you know, I work in the digital space, and for a lot of small business owners and entrepreneurs, that's a challenge for them because they don't work in the, you know, they may be a florist or a baker or a mechanic, and
Right.
they don't really necessarily understand those tools. So from that, I kind of went from the perspective of learning what it was like to become an entrepreneur, to implement my business plan, and then at the same time, the businesses that came to me and needed my help in the digital space, I actually learned from them. I learned what their challenges were and how they overcame them. So I think Lynn has a lot of really good points in terms of, you know, the very first spot to start is get your thoughts together, collect them, come up with a roadmap or business plan, and implement them. And she said something that made a lot of sense to me about intentions. We all know that business owners or people in general, they have the best of intentions, but sometimes we get lost. And that's why it's so important to have that business plan, because if you have a situation that catches you off guard or an event that happens that's out of control, you may lose sight of your goals. But if you go back to that original business plan, you can remember, oh, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I need to start implementing this and getting myself back on track.
Okay, I'm going to hand
Absolutely.
the helm back to Lynn in a second. Thank you very much, Molly. And you know, you're actually a great testimonial. Whenever we hear your story, it should be encouraging to a lot of people that you just picked up the ball and started trudging forward, and you've just been accomplishing, achieving, and letting your attributes that you perform build up, and then people realize that if they make that trek, they will establish some ground too, and they will establish what they are and what they do as they move. But you've got to be moving. As my dad said when I was a kid, dude, you can't steer a parked car. And if you're parked there or if you're in neutral, you're not going anywhere. So at least get the car rolling. So before we went on, I wanted to acknowledge that um, although we've got the comments streaming through, and I'll probably be reviewing those, we have a lot of people, and some of them did not think that they could be here today. But Randy Smith, Gary Whalen, Carmen Mandich, I'm glad you made it. And Nancy Stubbs actually made it. She thought she couldn't. And let's see. Barbara Quick, love it that you made it. Thank you. So, they say Randy, yes. And so a lot of people are here today, and I appreciate you coming because it's just, I like having our little community here that delivers, first of all, delivers good information and good value and offers an education. But the people in the audience are also of value to me. And what I would like to ask today is if you have subject matter that we don't cover or that we have not covered, or that you would want to expound upon more, uh, be, feel free about submitting suggestions in the comment stream or ask us questions live. Either way, we'd like to hear what you have to say. So with that, we're going to go back to what Lynn has to say. And I had in mind to ask her to steer the conversation a bit and talk about your choice. We can talk about 10x, or we can talk about purpose and motivation versus inspiration. So I know that's a mouthful.
Ah, and you're making me choose.
Yeah. Well, I
Well,
want to give
you
you
know,
options, and then you can grab which one feels the best.
and I'm going to go at it like this. They are all related, just
That,
like we as individuals are all related because everything is energy. And when we're in a space of being in the power of purpose, we're in something that's called heart. And the heart space is where power is really concentrated and powerful. Science has proven that the heart is a mechanism within each and every one of us that amplifies 60 times that which it puts out. So can you imagine putting out the thought between your heart and your head, the fact that you would like to do this thing in your business, help this type of person, whatever. That goes out, what comes back to you is amplified 60 times. The heart is the central communicator with the rest of your body. So when your heart is aligned with what it is that you desire to do and how it is that you're thinking, that is what gets amplified out from you. We all have heard of the laws of the universe, and there's a couple of high-level laws. The law of gravity is one that connects with many, including, you know, being the basis and the framework for the law of attraction. And the law of reciprocity, what you send out comes back to you. And a lot of people just turn that into karma, or, you know, how does it go? What you do comes back to you 10 times over, or whatever. It's the law of reciprocity. So, but it's energetic. And a lot of times it has nothing to do with what you do. It has everything to do with the energy that you were in when you did it. It has everything to do with the energy of who you are being that goes out from you as to what it is that you attract. Because the law of reciprocity, just like the law of gravity, is always in play. The fact that the 10X CEO is a program that has 5 tiers to it, those 5 tiers are actually built to move you through business development so that you come into alignment with your heart and your business. And as you're moving through building business, you're also moving through the heart space development that aligns you more closely to the work that you're doing, the why that you're doing it. Roland and I had a real great banter around a question he posed a little earlier, and I have 2 favorite answers to every question. One is to ask another question. So why does this happen? And you come to an answer, but that's not maybe the whole answer. There's another why that can be asked. And, you know, instead of thinking that it's going to inevitably take you down the rabbit hole, suppose you think about it like it's just going to lead you to a better answer. And it is a deeper dive, it is a deeper look. It doesn't have to be a rabbit hole. But, you know, rabbit holes have bottoms too, and if that's where the answer is, then take the leap. Ask the questions, get to the real why. Why did I do this? Why did I want to do this? Why did I do this? And why did I want to? It's a series of why questions that you can ask yourself to really uncover the energetic answer. Because a lot of those answers, I remember telling a friend who'd been going to therapy for years and had not gotten to the real answer to why certain things were happening. And I stood in this why questioning loop, allowing her to continue to explore, and it was revealed to her. And it was an energetic, a spiritual revelation that actually helped her to solve a lot of crap in her own mind, in her life, that translated to her business. And in the 10X CEO, we look at mindset at practically every level of business building that ensures that your money thermostat is high enough for the money that you would like, that you're saying that your intention is to bring into your business. A lot of people say, I want to be a millionaire. I want $100,000 this year in my business in the next 12 months. But their money thermostat limits them to 10 or 20. Well, we work...
Or zero.
Or zero. And
Yeah.
we work on exploring that at these various levels of business development so that your thermostat can go up. And, you know, it doesn't just shoot up overnight, although that is a possibility. Sometimes it takes going in stages. So from that zero, we get you to $1,000 a month, or 10,000, $10,000 every 6 months or a year. And then, your thermostat can go up along with your alignment. A lot of people say, well, I don't feel comfortable offering that dollar amount as the value for what it is that I'm doing. Well, a lot of things can come into play there. They haven't done the research to see what other people are charging for that. So they see that number, something that they conjured up, their story is not correct in a lot of instances. And so we're able to do that as we're going through the 10X CEO. And these 5 keys actually are the things that work through those things. We teach you the real meaning of leadership. I've read John Maxwell, Jack Canfield, even Deepak Chopra's Leadership Success, and I have incorporated their philosophies. But you know what? There's only 2 jobs of a leader. When you boil it all down, it's being you, but you have 2 jobs as a leader. One is to be the architect of the future. You have to see the vision. You have to align with the vision. You have to be the vision of your business. And then you have to adequately communicate that vision to those who you want to know what your vision is so that they can align with you. Your potential customers and clients may like what it is that you want to do to help them grow business, but knowing your vision and your mission for the work that you do is another higher level energy that you can bring into what you're doing that will help people to align with you. And I'll tell you what else too, your perfect customers are resonating with this, and they are the ones who want to come in and work with you when you're able to be in that space of knowing the 2 jobs of a leader. And that was just the first one. The second job of a leader is what I call the guardian of the mood. Guardian of the mood. And the guardian of the mood is the one who sets the culture of the company. And that culture is all around the branding and the colors and the website and the this and the that. And because you know what it is that you would like to build that's going to take you to that vision, it's your responsibility to bring in the team and the support. And they don't have to be employees, but the team that's going to support you in that. Coaches, Rolands, the Mollies that are going to be able to support you in that. So we teach those in the program in a way that you really get to align with and understand, because that's what's going to propel you. And it's all about the propulsion.
There's so much to what you just said, and one of the key things that I sensed in the underlying quadrant of what your words were saying is that self-worth and self-esteem and self-vision is really important, because if people don't believe that they're worth it, they're not going to be able to put a price tag on their services and then demand that sort of response from their clients, or even allow them to sense that they believe they're worth it. So there's a lot to become aligned with that, and how it all starts with how you feel about yourself. So I encourage everyone to take a good look at themselves and eliminate the negatives and the restrictions and the resistors that tell themselves, I'm not worthy, or I'm not worth it, or gee, I can't charge that much, and so can, but they can because of this reason, and I don't have that reason for me. The only reason for you is that whatever you think is negative, that's going to be your reality. But you can release those things and move on. Now, a couple things I have to release and then move on is that we've got some great comments.
Yeah.
2 here from Carmen Mandich. She says, I think that sometimes life-changing events, oh, wait a minute, I've got comment tracker working perfectly. Why don't I do that? I think that sometimes life-changing events change you more deeply than you first realize. In Spain, there is a saying, something good will come out of every bad event. And I like that one. She follows that by saying, feedback from your business and clients will also lead to new ideas and directions. They help steer the strategy. So it's exactly what we were saying earlier about, you can set your business plan, but be prepared to adjust and change your strategy. Kathy Pop had a couple of things, and I'll add that on to the end of this, and then we'll move on. Having a plan or plans, business plan, marketing, etc., at any stage is important. It needs to be flexible to tweak and adjust. Change is the only constant. I'm agreeing 100%. It's what we said earlier about it gives you a chance after you establish the strategy to adjust the strategy. So don't feel like it's got to be right the first time you put it down on paper. Be ready to change and plan on the change. She also follows that by saying businesses fail because they fail to plan or fail to change with the times. And that's so choice, because not only do they fail to change with the times, but those businesses, 80% of them are still out there ready to sell you packages on yesterday's news and obsolete strategies, so you got to be watching very carefully what you buy that's being offered. And that's why you get an education.
I totally agree with those statements too, Roland. I just quickly want to interject in regards to changing with the times. You know, in terms of digital marketing, that's one of the things that we do. Digital marketing, we're constantly keeping up with what's changing with Google, what's changing with technology. How can we share that information? Reviews are a great way. Polls, surveys, get feedback from your audience, from your clients. That's exactly what Google does. That's why they have all the different forums and feedbacks and forums and different ways that people can get help with Google products. So I just wanted to quickly say I totally agree with his last three statements.
Thank you. Yeah. And now we're going to let you take a breath, Lynn, and we're going to completely give it back to you and see where this conversation goes. This is going to been pretty much on fire up to now. So how are you doing there?
I'm good. You know, when your heart is in it, it's like, wow, has it been an hour? Has it been 3 hours already? And that's why I know that I'm truly in the space that I was born to be, because my heart is really in this. And, you know, in my bio, it talks about how my desire, my intention, my milestone and hard goals are around doing what I can to impact change in the statistics of successful, wildly successful women-owned businesses. And that occurs because of the heart of, I call it the heart of the matter. And the heart of the matter with business is that a lot of businesses don't know how to put the heart in their businesses. And so they're working from this strict framework of, you know, planning for this and planning for the goal. And I'll mention that because you had asked the question around motivation and inspiration. And I want to relate to that at first where business is concerned, because one of the things that we do in the 10X CEO program is we set milestone goals. And the goal, the ultimate goal, is to make a difference in the world through your business, through what you do in your business and through your business. It's not about doing business to make money. It's about doing business to make a difference. And when you are part of the P3 Academy of Social Entrepreneurship, that is a higher premise of doing business. You got to see. You know, I talk a lot about seeing the line. We're typically right here, so it's easy to dip and see under here, but this is where all of the confusion and the chaos and the things that as CEO you want to manage versus be in. And managing them, you manage from seeing above the line. Managing those things down here means that you're in a place of seeing beyond whatever challenge may come to you, as well as whatever opportunity may come to you. A lot of people in business are thinking, you know, this opportunity is in front of me and I've got to take it because it's an opportunity, when actually it may be something that appears to be a great opportunity that's going to take you so far off course. It's going to take you some real major energy to come back on course. And, you know, I often ask the question, ask me how I know. It happened. I did it. I learned from it. And I'm here now to tell you that just because you may not have experienced it doesn't mean that you have to experience it to learn it. And one of my friends says often, Cynthia Gardner O'Neill, I learn what I teach best. And I think that is key. I learn what I teach best, but I teach it best because I've experienced it, and I teach it better because I've experienced it. I teach it best because I know that I did not have to, nor do you have to, experience it all. Okay, so with that said, you had asked a question about motivation versus inspiration. And I've got a whole philosophy on that because a lot of times we think of polar differences, you know, dualities, the differences. Is motivation different than inspiration? A lot of people would say with very strong conviction, no, they're the same. They are different. And I'll tell you how you can tell. Motivation is a masculine word. Inspiration is a feminine word. Now, do you have one without the other? Well, you can and be very successful. But, you know, I have this philosophy. It's a fundamental principle that we weren't put here on this earth to be alone, to do anything alone. So why not incorporate the masculine along with the feminine and do the motivational stuff that has so much inspiration in it, and the inspirational stuff that incorporates the motivational in it, that the power of the Asian the inspiration and motivation and inspiration is what actually propels. And so that's how I kind of also see milestones and goals. And I want to really bring this up because it's a key principle in what I teach in the 10X CEO, because goals are set. They are set, and you learn them. Set another goal. You know, when you got that goal completed, set another goal. Or before you complete, set another goal. The challenge with goals is that they're hard stops. In business, do you want a hard stop? I would venture to say no. I'd like to take a pause and say, good job on that. You know, now what's the strategy? Let's jump into it and keep going, and just let me take a minute and celebrate with where I've been, what I've done, and then go on from there. That's the difference of what milestones do for you. And I even make the compromise of calling them milestone goals because it's the pause. It's not the hard stop. And when you get to the point of pause, you really are more conscious about doing something to celebrate that is motivational, that is inspirational, that is a contributing factor to your continuing the journey. So a lot of times people reach this, you know, my goal is $100,000. They reach that $100,000 and then wonder why they get stuck. They can't go any further. You know, they just, you know, I've done my money thermostat. Well, you told your subconscious mind that your hard stop was $100,000. So that's it. Okay. So, but if 100,000 is a milestone goal, and then even if you just leave it open to, you know, the more to come after that, then at least your subconscious mind can play into the victory of your having accomplished $100,000. You're there, you're playing with it, you're enjoying the fact that you made that accomplishment, and that pause now, press the button, let's keep going. Your subconscious mind understands these things, while we, in fact, on a conscious level, may not even have a clue.
I love it. I love it. I gotta interject right here because I am deep, deep, deep into the law of attraction, and people like Earl Nightingale, we become what we think about, and people that say what we think about becomes our reality. That's what Buddha was saying when he says, what we think we are what we think about, or all that we are, it rises in our thoughts. And so our mental attitude, our state of mind, our mindset, all of that determines what our reality is. And you cannot divide those two. So if you're thinking doubtfully, guess what? You're setting the limits of what you can achieve in the midst of your doubt. All the negative speak that you hand yourself, you're basically designing your own little box, and it's way smaller than the reality of who you are. Okay, I've had my say, and I'll hand it back to you, Lynn. I know you were on a roll.
Well, Molly, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I just quickly wanted to share a story with the audience. Some may already know this, but I'm a Google Partners Ambassador. And before I ever thought that would even be a possibility for me, the Google Partners had posted in our community a document, an official Google Doc with all the ambassadors on it. And I used to sit and look at that document in my office thinking, man, wouldn't it be cool if one day my face, my profile could be on that document? And I thought, I think this is something I can make happen if I just really, really try, and I just keep getting out there and helping people, and like you said, set milestones and goals, and just get out there and do it. And so I did just that. I followed my advice, and I said, you know what? Even if I don't, I'll know in my heart that I did my best to try and accomplish that milestone. And so I went out in the Google Partners and answered questions, did what I do. And before I knew it, I got the email one day. I was sitting at my desk, and I got the email from the community partners manager. She works at the Googleplex, saying, Molly, guess what? We're going to give you a spotlight. And I thought, this is great. Oh, I'm getting acknowledged in the community. And so I thought, well, if I'm going to keep doing this, then maybe I should just keep doing what I'm doing. And so I did. And in about 2 months after that, I got the email from my manager saying, we're going to make you an ambassador. Congratulations, we're going to invite you out to the Googleplex. And I was like, holy smokes, what have I done now? So I just wanted to quickly share that story that, if you do see a goal or milestone that you want to meet, and you just keep trying and you just keep pushing yourself forward, then you will eventually accomplish it.
Oh, that's an excellent ad. I love that story.
The story is fantastic, and is yours, which is brilliant. We're not telling the story somebody else. It's like you in the green room brings that to the table. Kathy Pop had one last statement that was great. I believe that our businesses have a body, mind, and spirit all their own that is intertwined with our own. So if we are blocked, our business will be blocked too. And that's brilliant because guess what? It's inseparable. You cannot separate yourself from your business, and what you experience is also an outward manifestation of who you are. So it's all part of the same thing, and you're right, very right, that your business is inseparable and will reflect the same thing that your spirit limits are. So let me hand it back to you because we've only got about 12 minutes to go, and I know we're rolling along.
Well, if I have to kind of bring all of this higher level thinking into a little more containment here, I'd love to talk about the subject of the being in the space of having. And I say that to say having the business that you desire to have, having the life, the lifestyle business that leads to the life that you can have with family, and sharing more of your life with family, and having the business that's going to support you in all that you're endeavoring to do to make your life, your family's life, and the lives of others better. There's a process to get to the having. And I've noticed that there's a lot of entrepreneurs, and I've worked through this space myself, and it truly is around the belief around having. One of my coaches often says, one of her mantras is, she calls herself the queen of having it all. And I used to really think, oh my God, how can you, first of all, have it all? And then second of all, if having it all is what I truly dream and desire, then what do I have to do to, in fact, have that? And so I started doing some studying on that concept as it related to life and as it relates to business. And I came up with two things. The two things are totally belief. What do you believe? If you believe that you can't have it, Henry Ford said, whatever you believe you can do or be, you're right. So if you believe you can't have it or you can't do it, you just don't have it, if that's your belief, that's the truth. If you believe that you can, then that is the truth. Let's go for the new truth. And I like to also, I have learned to be in the space of expansion and understanding that what science brings to philosophy, I am learning to be in the space of seeing the philosophical because I'm more scientific. I'm pretty much a good balance of what people know as masculine and feminine energy. I've been able to really sit in the space of being in my creative to the degree that, magic happens and so easily. Yet I've also been in the space of being this linear, analytical, process, all the chess player, and been so powerful there that I have come to know that the duality of self is a belief. We are the sum total of our masculine and our feminine selves. It's how we understand and choose to move forward in it. And so I mentioned there were two things, and belief was one. The second thing is decide. And a lot of people, even in business, would look at, all I have to do is choose. And in choosing, I've done it. No, let's actually examine that, because this is all part of the clarity thing that I was talking about. Yes, you always have choice, and choice is an A, choice is a B, or choice is a C. What you choose is the decision. So choice comes before the decision, but choice is not the decision. The decision is the decision. So when somebody says decide, it truly is make a choice. Decide is the action that causes the next thing, because we are truly law of the universe, cause and effect. We are truly in the cause and effect, but what would it feel like to be in so much more of the cause for that effect versus just being in the, whatever happens? You are still in cause. It's just deciding how you will be in cause and allowing that to return to you through the law of reciprocation what it is that you desire. And, it can get pretty deep, but actually it's pretty clear. It's pretty basic. What you believe will lead to the choices that you make, will lead to the actions that you take, will lead to the results that you get. And yeah, that's a T. Harv Eker thing. And I totally recommend, if you haven't been to anything MMI, go. If you don't know about it, ping me. I'll tell you all about it, and just go. It's a free opportunity to learn this kind of stuff that I'm talking about right now, because it totally impacts your business. It totally impacts how quickly you can move from zero to hero for your customers and from zero to cash in the bank for your business.
I believe this totally, and I'm right behind you. A lot of the speed at which this happens, in other words, from zero and where I'm going to cash in the bank, I mean, that's the end goal for most people, because we're working from a survival mode and the desperation of how to get that cash. But that's a
belief system. That is
Exactly.
where you're in that space of down here trying to look around and see what's happening versus being up here in the energy of enlightenment and light and having ideas come to you about how to make things easier, who to partner with, who to talk to get support versus that person that you might think about going to that's going to say, oh, you can't do that, and then you're blown up out of the water.
My
So
God, yes.
absolutely.
You've got to have the higher vision. That's why we talk about enlightenment. That's why we talk about getting up when you fall. We want to rise up. And the problem is that most people, or one of the problems is that most people don't know or realize that they have the power to stand up and get and look beyond and think outside the box. I've gotten to the point where I don't believe that there is a box. And I always say, there is no box. There is no box, so why put yourself in one? So
Exactly.
just to wrap that up, you made some really, really good points. And we've got about 3 or 4 minutes left, and we've had a nice stream of conversation. Carl Richards joins us, and Randy Smith's still out there in the audience, and they're having fun talking back and forth. And I just wanted to warn Carmen Mandich that one of these days I'm going to invite you into the green room. So you might want to run a brush through your hair and be ready, because someday in the near future you're going to be sitting here with us in the green room. You've got a lot to say, great ideas. Nancy
Great
Stubbs has
comments.
already experienced this, and possibly Kathy Pop too. These are people who are going to be popping into the green room sometime. And I just wanted to add that. So thank you very much for your comments. Also, Randy, you're another one that's going to end up in here. So if we were to try to wrap up this hour that has been very prolific with coming out with choice tidbits, is there anything that we can add before we wrap up the day?
I'd just quickly like to add that I think Vlyn has shared some great advice with people. I mean, she practically has described my experience and where I'm at today. I never thought in a million years some of the things, some of the opportunities that I've been privy to be a part of. Even just being on your show, Roland. I mean, I never thought that that would ever happen, and it was just the effort of going out there and trying and partnering with the right people. And I think what's really important, and this is just the one point I'd like to make to the live audience, that it's so important to surround yourself with positive people. It's so important to empower yourself to network with people who are going to help you, who are going to support you, and just be there for you. So that would be my last little, I guess, icing on the cake on top of what Lynn said, that it is a journey. It's an experience. It's something that you decide to do, you implement it, and you make it happen.
If it's one thing I am, it's positive, Molly, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much. You've been a very, very positive aspect for this show, and so
Thanks.
I'm always glad to have had you for all these months. You're almost completing a full year with me here. Thank you very much. So I would hand this back to V-Lynn. This is your show. And by the way, people, we've been calling her V-Lynn because most of our experiences lately have been with Lynn Sanders and V-Lynn in the same program, and we have to distinguish between the two. But you can call her V, you can call her Lynn, you can call her a
Hawk.
number of things, but all of these things apply. She is why we brought her into the program today. She is one positive person, very inspirational and positive. And if I were to make a comment regarding that motivation and inspiration, motivation in dictionary-wise is basically defined as being motivated or propelled to do what things you don't want to do. And inspired has to do with the things that you want to do, that you're passionate about. So if there's any kind of a dividing line, motivation has a resistance to it, and inspiration is free and clear coming from your heart. So to me, that's part of the definition difference. So
And I love that you said that. Let me just interject here because you have just explained why they both go together so well as also. There's not a lot in life that you can do or go through that doesn't present itself as resistance. including things like, you know, looking at the caterpillar coming out of its cocoon to become a butterfly. There's a lot of resistance that's going on the inside of that cocoon, that once it is complete, emerges the butterfly. The same thing with the acorn and the beautiful grand oak tree. There's a lot of resistance that goes on the inside of that acorn that not only cracks the shell, but that shell and that seed down under the ground, growing and being nurtured to then sprout up out of the ground and continue to grow. And that's a lot of what I use. Both of those are good analogies, but both are analogies that I use in what I teach in business as well, because not only is that a great analogy about how we ourselves grow, and to think about it, you know, the butterfly never complains that they've got to go through all of this stuff as a caterpillar to get out of the cocoon. They just do. And the acorn, the nut inside the acorn never says, "Oh, this is too hard. This is, you know, let me find somebody to help me with me doing the me work that's required." They just do. Now, they are supported, both of which are supported. The cocoon is protected. The butterfly is protected as they're going through the rest of their transformational process. The little seed in the acorn is protected. It's protected under the ground. Water comes. It's nurtured. So all of the masculine things that contribute the resistance and the feminine things that contribute the holistic growing are necessary as we as individuals, as humans in this spiritual experience, are going to just be a part of. And, you know, when you think about it like that, as you're building your strategy for your business, for your marketing campaigns, for your joint venture projects, you really can look at the fact that when resistance shows up, it's offering you something. It's offering you an opportunity in what it's bringing to you, and it's presenting you with a challenge. Here are your choices. What choice are you going to make, and what decision is going to take you to the next step? And that is how life presents itself. That's how business presents itself. And that's actually the power of understanding. And when you have understanding that's undergirded with purpose, explodes into something beautiful called business, or your highest and best life. And, you know, that's what. Roland, let me just say thank you. I so love the work that you're doing and the things that you're bringing into the world in conversations like this, and the opportunities that you're offering to individuals all around the globe to come and be with you here, to be in the space of who would have ever thought marketing could turn into something like this. It's amazing, and you're amazing, and I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be here with you today to share the way that I have. I truly appreciate you.
Likewise, as a mutual admiration society, I knew you were going to fit in perfectly, get along with us from a spiritual aspect of where we're coming from, and plus the actual purpose and the definition of where we're going forward. We're determining actions based upon the power of the purpose that we possess. So, Molly, did you have something you want to wrap it up with? And then I've got a couple of comments that I don't want to leave.
Yeah, I just wanted to say everything you just said is brilliant, Velin. I totally agree. You know, it's really about the support, you know, that nurturing that a business owner needs while they're growing, while they're pulling their way up the ladder. And I agree with you with what you said about Roland's show, about, you know, just getting out there, doing it, trying to help people out. I did a thing in the Google Partners community about the power of Google Hangouts on Air, and I think it's a brilliant tool that Google has given us to empower ourselves to network with other people like yourself, like Roland, and other experts out there that really have a lot to share. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Molly.
Thanks, Molly. Thank you very much. And I wanted to have a last couple of comments here. Nancy says, absolutely, Molly. Surround yourself with positive and helpful people and be a positive, helpful person. And that just speaks again to the power of positive polarity. And then Randy had a comment in response to something that Carl Richards said. I am learning. I'm trying to learn more about marketing for small business and entrepreneurs in order to possibly help a very good friend and maybe even consider some sort of career change for myself. So I'm currently in a job search. Today I'm also taking care of my wife who is recovering from bronchitis and a sinus infection. You know, we all have challenges, Randy, and no matter what our condition is, no matter where we are, I am speaking from experience, you will find a way, and there is an opportunity. And it's so obvious to me and so obvious to some of us that jump in these hangouts and stuff, but there's a way, and it will turn into abundant thinking, because if we're giving, we're in that flow of abundance. And according to the law of attraction, you can't be in the flow of abundance and not experience abundance. And guess what? Abundance includes cash in your bank. So I'm encouraging you and everyone else that's sitting on the fence thinking, I have my problems, I have my issues, I have my challenges, I need this and I need that, and I really need to figure out how to get a business going. Believe that you can and take the first steps. And you are taking the first steps. You're getting an education, so you're probably closer than you think you are to a oncoming success, and you're going to see it happen and go, oh, well, that's an interesting door that opened. And then something else is going to happen, and it's going to lead to another thing, and the dominoes will start to fall. And keep positive. Keep thinking positively, and don't attach yourself to the problems. Think solutions. And the solutions.
Decide to be in that space that you're talking about, Roland. Yes.
Agreed, and
Yes.
amen to that. So we're moving on 10 minutes overtime, and I got to wrap it up for the sake of those who have a next place to go. But thank you, Molly and Lynn, for joining me today on this little venture of experience regarding motivation and inspiration and business ideas. I love it. Thank you very much for your contributions. And thank you, everybody, for your comments and for joining us today on a Saturday. Thanks a lot. Thank you from Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties, and we're signing off. Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.